So, when did your musical journey begin?
It began when I just finished school, actually.
Okay.
And at that time, like most musicians, I wanted to be one of the Beatles.
Did you have the hair? Or did you do the hair?
So that was the first obstacle. I wasn't allowed to grow my hair.
Ah,
Anyway, music was always a passion from the time, from as far back as I can remember.
right.
And my furthest memory is listening to a live band. It was a magical moment, and that stayed with me till today. I think that memory is what, subconsciously stayed in my mind and eventually made me want to be a musician.
Wonderful.
Actually seeing a live band perform.
Now, Beatles, they are kind of like a pop rock band, right? But you are now an established jazz artist. So, how did that? Was it a transition? What is it that drew you to jazz?
It was an evolution,
Ah,
like most youngsters, I was into rock, I was into pop, and I was into a lot of noise.
Okay.
And I gradually got into jazz when I decided to play professionally.
Okay.
Now in Bombay, all the five-star hotels used to have resident bands
Yes,
performing 6 nights a week.
absolutely.
And I was lucky to get into one of those bands, even though I didn't know a single jazz standard.
Right.
And in those days, the nightclub bands, as they were called, used to have a repertoire of only jazz standards.
I
It
see.
was the nightclub music of that time,
Okay.
the early 70s. And I suddenly found myself feeling, like at the deep end of a swimming pool. And I had to learn to play jazz standards by ear. Now, one reason why I developed a good ear is because, when I was playing a song I didn't know, I tried my best to hit the right notes. And of course, I hit the wrong notes very often. And man, the look I got from my fellow members, it was enough to kill.
Sharp ears, I guess. Yeah.
So, that actually, the fright of getting those smoldering looks from those fellow band members made me actually hear around the corner and, develop a ear
Hmm.
to hear what comes next in a song.
And
And
you always started with the bass guitar? Or?
Yes.
Oh,
I always played bass. In fact, I played bass before I learned to play the guitar.
I see.
And I played my third show before I learned to play my second chord.
Oh, wow. that's jazz for you, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
Amazing. When you talk of these jazz standards, you're talking of songs like Autumn Leaves and
Fly Me to the Moon.
yes,
Yeah.
we'll go on that orbit a little later.
Sure.
Yeah, but and did people know they used to ask for these songs, requests?
Most of the requests at that time was always jazz standards.
Okay.
And people actually danced to that, in
Wow.
the nightclubs. So today, of course, it's EDM that makes people dance. Times
Very
have
true.
changed. Yeah.
Yes, as you said, there's been an evolution.
Yes.
I think now we need a revolution to
Of course.
to get people to perform live and to even compose. And
Right.
that's basically why this show is all about encouraging youngsters
It's a great idea.
and young at heart.
Yes.
Yes, we are young at heart, right?
Right.
So I'm sure during some of these shows, there must have been some really unique or special incident, if you'd care to share, something which lifts the spirits up of a musician.
Of course, it's always the applause, the
Okay.
audience's applause is what drives a musician on stage. And audience connection is what makes the band magical. If a band is performing really well, it's because they're connected to the audience.
True.
And that is the reason why a live concert is always one up on any studio recording. A studio cannot create that environment of a live concert.
Most certainly.
So some of my best playing is always in a live concert,
Yes.
in a live performance.
Yeah, not trying to say we should have recorded you. Okay, because we are in the
No,
studio.
but Alfie, I'll do something live as well
Ah,
on this show.
You know, ever since this chat started, I've been like trying to avoid looking at this beautiful instrument in your hand. It's small, but it packs a punch, I believe.
Yes, this is something new. It was invented just about 4 or 5 years ago.
I see.
It's called a U-bass.
All right.
And this company here,
Kala. Right.
are the first people to invent it. And of course, now there are many brands.
Okay.
It is a tiny instrument, but it has the sound of a big upright double bass.
Wow. Okay.
And that is what actually got me hooked onto this instrument, you know.
Okay.
I'll just play a note for you too. So you see, such a tiny instrument packs in such a huge sound.
Yes.
And the best part is I can pack it into my pocket.
Literally, yes.
Yeah.
It's slightly bigger than a ukulele, right?
Yes, actually it's called a ukulele.
U-bass.
It's called a ukulele bass.
Okay,
Yeah, a U-bass.
Okay.
And this has now become my main bass.
Right.
I own a lot of different basses, but this is my primary
Go-to.
bass.
This is your go-to.
Yes.
I can see, yes.
I'm connected to it now.
You're connected to it. You have put Goa on the world map, the world music map. Why did you call your organization Jazz Goa? Why not, or did you think of Jazz Bombay, Jazz India, or anything else?
To me, there are two magical words, jazz and Goa.
Right.
So I brought two magical words together with
Correct.
Jazz Goa.
Absolutely.
Now, the reason why I could take our music out to the rest of the world is thanks to the internet. The internet gave me a global stage. I recorded artists and put them on that global stage. People from around the world, not just the Goan diaspora,
Right.
it's people from Brazil, from Poland,
Russia.
Russia,
Yes.
they're actually downloading our app. We have created an app. They're downloading our app and enjoying our music around the world.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And there's just jazz music on that.
It's jazz
Primarily.
and also other genres.
Okay.
Yeah.
But primarily, yeah.
One reason why I also record other genres of music and anything that sounds good is because, jazz is an all-embracing sound of music.
Yes.
Jazz embraces every other sound of music. You see, that's why there's jazz rock, there's jazz
pop.
country, there's
Yes.
jazz classical. You name the genre and there's a jazz attached.
Correct.
The song is just a vehicle.
Okay.
It's a vehicle for you to, or a platform for you to improvise any song. You create a melody, and then you give spaces to the musicians to play their own interpretation of your melody.
Correct.
So that's what actually happens in a jazz song.
Scatting, is it when jazz singers forget the lyrics, or how did that come about?
Yeah, scatting is like, see, I have an instrument that I can use to improvise.
Right.
A singer, her instrument or his instrument is a vocal cord.
Right.
So she can sing a song and then she can interpret the melody by scatting, which is just another way of using her voice as an instrument.
Yeah, like a kind of a
Yes.
vocal solo.
The way a saxophonist would solo, she would solo.
vocalist.
Yeah, and use syllables that are just made up spontaneously,
Yes.
It doesn't have to be shooby-dooby-doo. She could just
Okay.
make up,
whatever.
choose any
In
syllable
fact,
and
you should
done.
never write those syllables down.
Yeah. So it's all about creating at the spur of the moment spontaneously. I'll show you how jazz works, how I interpret the melody. And I play a bit of my own interpretation in between the song. So that will
Fantastic.
give you some idea of what jazz is all about.
Yes, I'm sure viewers will be thrilled and excited with this performance.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me.
Music is just an expression,
Yes.
right?
As long as you can carry a tune, you know.
And
In Indian music, it's called sur and tal.
right.
As long as you can sing in tune and you can be in rhythm, you are a musician. Yeah.
And Goan should find it easier because we have
Yes.
Sorp and Tel, Sorpatel, and for the Sur and Tal. So you've already, invited budding musicians, lyricists, and songwriters.
Yes.
So before you go, I want you to, give a message to young musicians, established musicians, and seasoned musicians as far as composing goes.
Yeah. To all musicians,
Yes.
I would like to, point out that there are 3 stages in your career. If you choose music as a career: imitating, assimilating, and innovating. Now, this show, Music Uncovered, is all about innovating, about creating your own music.
Correct.
When you start off, you're always imitating your idols, you're imitating their style, you're imitating their playing, and that eventually assimilates into your subconscious. This is a gradual stages, 3 stages. And finally, in the 3rd stage is where you innovate, and that's where you create an identity for yourself. That's where you create your own sound. That's where you create your own place in this big wide world of music. So remember, imitate, assimilate, and don't forget to innovate.